Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Smart Talk with me, Melissa, and Mark. We are already having such a great time behind the scenes. Oh my gosh, it's hard to believe this is our 8th episode, and we were just kind of laughing about that. Time is flying, and we are loving it. And we've got none other than Melissa Carter, the voice of Atlanta, our podcaster of She Persisted, and been on major #1 radio shows. You probably know her from morning radio.
Stop. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
I love it. I love it. Stop. Don't say anymore.
I know, right?
I get you. And we've been friends forever. Just love it. And then Mark Hayes, 2-time nominated Fox News anchor and many other stations you were on, as well as a news anchor, but here in the Atlanta area on Fox 5, I believe, for 10 years. And now you're founder of Mark Hayes Consulting and Media. So you're amazing.
And we have to come, Aurea, we have to come up with a nickname for him because of his smooth voice. I mean, I think not only is he handsome, but so many of our viewers are like, just talk, Mark, just talk. So we have to give you some
Let's
kind
ask our viewers.
Jazz musicians get
Maybe we
nicknames.
drop a little jazz music in here. And I'll just,
You need to be doing voiceovers, Mark. We tell you all the time. So
let
viewers,
the do it.
what
Wait,
should we
Aurea. Yeah, I know, but Aurea, let's not forget Aurea McGarry, who is
Glossed over it.
I know, Emmy award-winning talk show host, philanthropist. You'll see the Emmy with the lights adorned around it. But Mark, did you notice that when she moved the Emmy, she also replaced where the Emmy used to be with another award. So like her awards are starting to multiply behind her
They're
head.
just piling up. Yes.
For somebody who doesn't like to talk about herself, she sure likes to show her bling behind her.
I do like bling, and it's just little subliminal things in case you see it. You know, all the other ones are on top of here. I like to rotate things. I get bored easy.
Well, what are those
rotating things?
What are those awards that you're rotating?
Well, some of them are Telly Awards, and some of them are Davy Awards.
Nice.
And therefore, you know, the TV show that I did, Live Your Legacy. So before I got the Emmy, I was submitting to those two. And then somebody told me about the Emmys and said, why don't you? And I'm like, I was like, really? But I did. And I won. And so the rest is history. So there's lots of awards out there. And I teach my clients in celebritizing you and profit from being you is find the awards in your industry, because every industry has awards, like whether it's a journalist award or a photography award, and go for it. But you can't win anything in your genre unless you know what there is to win. So I kind of learned along the way, like, oh wow, you can win awards for this, because all I ever knew was Oscars, Emmys, national. But there's always something that you can strive for in whatever it is that you do. So search it out.
And it's a great pat on the back, and it's a great way to kind of illustrate your proof of performance, so people can know that you are proficient at what you do and what you teach. And if you've got awards to back it up. I mean, when I was in TV news, it didn't help us make any extra money as far as I knew. Right. But then again, I never won one, so I don't know.
Nominated is still good. A lot of people would love to just be nominated. So nomination, as we always say, does matter. So it means you're good enough to get in there and be nominated. Because I know I judge, and I think, Mark, you've judged. And I just have, Melissa, we want you to be judging. So we need to talk, because I got a call from our board members, and we were talking about you too. So I'm going to get calls from me.
Because I've never worked a day in television, so I'd love to.
Yeah, but you're in the industry.
I'm in the industry, right?
Entertainment media industry.
Yeah,
and Melissa, it's just like anything else. It's just like radio. You know a good story when you hear it. That's why people like Bert and you guys, and like the Howard Sterns of the world, you guys tell great stories.
Interview great people.
That's what it's all about. And that's why we come back the next morning on our drive to work, because we want to
thank you for that. It is storytelling. It is storytelling, because you're exactly right that if you do, I mean, even though I worked at music radio stations, we did talk shows. We talked all the time.
Right.
And like you said, I mean, storytelling is an art. And so I've been privileged to be with some great storytellers and learn from them. And in radio, I was thinking about awards, like, I mean, you have the Radio Hall of Fame, which I'm not a part of.
Doesn't mean you can't be.
I've never been nominated to be in the Radio Hall of Fame, so I won a lot of awards in high school. I won a speech award in high school, so I could, keep bragging about Central High School.
And it's funny, it's just when people want to listen to you or hire you, it's good to have some accolades. It doesn't have to be awards. It could be education. I always tell people, get the highest education you can or that you want to. Never stop learning. School is never out for the pro. So whether you're getting more education or if you're, going for an award, depending on what your genre is, just go for it and enjoy the journey, as well as you never know where life will take you as far as PhDs or Academy Awards or anything in between.
Exactly.
But go for it, get in the mix.
I agree.
And so we're excited about that. And Melissa, we're going to just bring you on in.
Okay, cool. I'm happy.
Nice.
I'm happy. Yes, Sensei. I'm happy to learn.
Yay! And we want you to help us with podcasting. So you are the podcasting
Yes.
queen and radio queen. So we're going to, get this show onto other platforms as well. So we'll be
All
tapping
right,
into your
I
expertise.
will do my best. Yes.
You'll be awesome. Well, today we are going to talk to you all about some DIY projects, because what our viewers have been saying, besides needing, some financial ideas, they also are now homeschooling and having in-home offices, and maybe on a tight budget. Maybe they don't have the job they had before, not the extra savings to be spending on, well, now I need an in-home office, or now I need equipment, or where do I put the kids to do, get them off the kitchen counters, they can have their own workspace. So we're going to talk a little bit about some DIYs, have some pictures to show y'all of some fun ideas you can do with just plain old milk crates and some other things. So before I get to the pictures, if you guys want to just chime in on some of your experience with what are you doing at your homes to make it more user-friendly, Mark, for your work and grandkids. And then Melissa, you've got a 6-year-old at home now, and I have a 15-year-old at home.
That's right. Mark,
for me, I look for places where I can work in an uninterrupted fashion for long periods of time. Because if I sit in front of the TV, I'll watch. So I'm finding different places, like out on the deck. We don't have a TV outside, but like out on the deck, especially now as things are getting cooler, it's a really nice place to start the day. So I can get dialed in, I can go outside, I can log in, I can check emails, I can get my day started, map out my day without interruption. And then I have a good head of steam going the rest of the day. So I find that finding places besides the restroom that allow you to be uninterrupted is a great way to get your day going. And because if you start slow, you're going to finish slow, and you're going to plod through the day. I find my most productive days and the days that I enjoy the most, that go by the fastest, are the ones where I have the most mapped out. When I say, okay, I'm doing this at 9, this at 11, this at noon, this at 1, and it works and it flows. And next thing you know, you have a plan. Early on, when I became an entrepreneur, when I first left TV news, I was all over the place. Yeah. I was sitting in the living room right in front of the TV. Next thing I know, this show's going off. I'm changing the channel.
And the news comes on, probably totally distracts you.
Exactly. And next thing you know, you haven't gotten anything done.
No.
And you're looking around like, I said I was going to have this done today, and now you're up till 11, right?
It's about being proactive, not reactive.
Exactly.
And I find doing it the night before. So I already know before I go to bed what I have to wake up to, and I'm proactive doing what I need first before I start reacting to emails, texts, and things like that. There's those few things you have to get done before the whole day takes you away. So I like that you go outside, because we're here in the South and we can be outside for longer than you can if you're up in Michigan or somewhere like that. So that's good. I'd love to see that. So
matter of fact, I was even thinking about getting one of those space heaters that you put out on the deck.
Yeah.
So I could go out, into November and December.
Absolutely. We have such a short winter here. I mean, it's really just kind of mild. We'll get a couple of colder snaps when you can't be out there. Melissa, what do you do?
Yes. Well, usually February is our winter here in
Atlanta. We get 30 days.
Exactly. Well, I'm kind of where Mark was. So now that I have left the corporate world and doing things on my own, I find that I'm a little limited. So what I'm doing is I am making that list of things that I plan to keep and what I plan to delegate. So what happens with me is, number one, my internet is in the main receiving room of my place. So I find that I need to be closer to that for my son's school and for my Zoom calls and doing this. And so I have been on the dining room table. But then my distractions come when I find that I need to clean, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I'll get this done. I'll just, I'll just mop. I'll get it done. I'll get it out of the way.
We know how much you love to clean, Melissa.
I'll laundry. I hate it.
I
hate it. And so the fact, though, because I'm medically fragile, if you're new to the show, and I'm one of those that has to stay at home. So I'm homebound since March. And so I can't have somebody come in to do it yet. But I can tell you, I will never do this again.
If any maids are watching, be calling Melissa.
I'm telling you, yes. If you were a full service, if you do laundry and baseboards and everything, and you're willing to come once a week, why don't you reach out to me and let's get something together for 2021? Because
call me too.
Seriously, because I was mopping the floor and I thought, okay, I really should be doing ... right now.
Right.
And I think, oh my gosh, if somebody was doing this for me right now, I could be focusing on that. And
Isn't that the worst feeling? That is the
yes.
worst feeling. Oh gosh.
And again, I'm appreciating where I am and what I get to do, but I have to say that now that I'm starting out as an entrepreneur, that I'm realizing the pros and cons of my personality and what I do. So I'm going to beef up the internet in this house when this pandemic's over so that I can be in other places in the house. And also somebody else is going to be cleaning for me. So there you go. That's what I'm
There you go.
Here's the solution. I just did that. And I just went, it was a trip to Best Buy. And they have a bunch of different price ranges for you to expand your Wi-Fi capacity and basically your range.
Right.
And you pick out the one that's easiest for you to maneuver. You don't have to be a rocket surgeon or a brain scientist, to figure it out.
So I don't have to go through the internet people. I can go
Yes.
online to Best Buy, have them send me something.
I have it.
All right, that's what we'll do.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah,
see,
you get the mesh Wi-Fi system.
Yeah, it may not be till after the pandemic. I may be doing that now. The cleaning I'll still have to
Good.
do, but so yeah, so it's figuring it out. So I think that's why I like the topic of this show, is because so many people are new to the working from home experience
And the Wi-Fi.
and the Wi-Fi, and they're figuring it. So there's somebody that just said, "Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic if I could have my child upstairs in their room instead of having to be in the kitchen, because the range will be better."
Exactly.
And
we have that box, so I'll show it, because we have that box Brian got for us a while ago, because I needed to have Wi-Fi way far away from where everything was, and it works like a charm. And I just saw on the news that there's like 1 million kids in America that don't even have Wi-Fi. So that's a whole nother issue we need.
Well, now Mayor Bottoms, I don't know if you saw where she has initiated certain pods in places, and I don't know the details because I just saw the story before I got on.
Okay.
But she is trying to help kids who don't have internet be able to still do homeschool through an initiative in helping the kids. So thank you to the mayor for that.
Absolutely.
Well, and it's not just urban areas that are suffering without Wi-Fi, or it's rural areas too.
Oh, for
sure. And like we talked about that before on the show, 7, 8, 10 years from now, our kids that are suffering from this year and last year and not being able to get that solid foundation in their early stages of their education are really going to be struggling. And it's not fair. It's not their fault. And, as parents, it's up for us, to figure out ways to close the gap, but not every parent has the resources to just run out and spend $300 on, a new Wi-Fi mesh, device. I mean, so our educational system is going to have to, we may have to do year-round school everywhere for our kids to catch up.
You can be quiet.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I got a grandbaby.
I know.
So I watch my grandsons, and I'm worried, that they're missing out because even the social element of it, learning how to play with other kids, learning how to share, learning how to line up properly on the kickball field, learning how to count off by twos. I mean,
but it's like you said though, because I'm kind of glass half full, and I absolutely agree with what you're saying. But it's, sometimes the world has to slap us in the face to get us to understand and learn new ways. And I think that this is a slap in the face to say, okay, this is a concern. But I do believe as humans, we can step up and fill that gap if we don't do what we've always done. So if we keep doing what we've always done, and we've talked about education reform long before the pandemic, and the fact that kids in rural communities and urban communities were not being able to keep up because of technology shortages. And it's like, well, here we are. What are we going to do about it? What's the solution to this problem? Instead of thinking and assuming that we're going to just do the same old thing.
And another really good thing that happens, because tell me what you think about this. I've been hearing about the generation that I have now, the 15, 16, the teenagers are so used to the phone, that they really don't have the computer skills that my other daughter, who's now 30 something, because they were trained on the computer. But now our kids aren't even using computers. They're stuck on this phone, which is texting and this whole thing, but you get them on the computer and they're more lost. So this is kind of a wake-up call that we're all getting more computer savvy. So Melissa, if your 6-year-old now is forced to be on this online, on the computer, I think on the positive side, he's going to get very computer savvy. He's going to learn computer communication.
You don't have to say learn. I mean, look, I think that, I don't know about teenagers, but I know my son's generation started out on iPads. They've always
Right.
had technology. They've always had phone access. My son figured out Zoom before I had a chance to teach him how to do Zoom and mute himself. He learned how to chat before we even realized that he could and that he should, but he learned how to send messages to his schoolmates like on his own. So
When he
I
was
think
4? That's awesome.
yeah, I mean,
I always say get a 5-year-old to help you.
so I again, I think that we dismiss the fact that when we were young, we were the first, video game generation, and that we adapted to technology our parents didn't have. And there's a reason we're all on computers now as adults, because we're the ones that ushered that in. So whatever your teenagers or what my son and what your grandchild is going to usher in is different than what we're doing now. So again, we can't be so short-sighted to think that in 20 years, these laptops are what we're going to be using, because you're dismissing virtual reality, which is going to be a part of our society at some point once they figure that out.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a different animal. All right. Well, there's always an upside. There's always a good thing. And I think this virtual is here to stay in whatever capacity. We're just talking about that on our networking this morning, that we're never going to go back to just being at an event with the people that are in the room, in our community, in our small little circle. We're always going to have these virtual meetings and networking now, where people from Australia and California and Texas and Canada are all in the Zoom room with us. We'll never let that go. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited all the generations are forced to be on it now. So they'll all see, they can have friends all over the place, and not just on their, their cell phones, but like real communication on these conference calls and web cards, and do business everywhere, because they're the next generation, take this into the business world as well. So
it may be just me, and Mark, Aurea, I had a conversation with a woman to do business with on Zoom in London, and the whole time I kept geeking out thinking, oh my God, I'm talking to somebody from London. Again, I'm a sophisticated adult who geeking out because I'm like, she's in her room in her little English cottage in London,
in her little flat.
It's probably not an English cottage, but in my mind, I'm thinking there's moss on the roof, and she's got a garden outside. And
I'm thinking Downton Abbey, and she's in her castle.
She's in the castle, and so she just rings the bell. Exactly.
Getting her footman.
Yes, and she's just as wonderful as anybody down the street here in Atlanta. But for some reason, in my mind, I couldn't help thinking like, oh my God, this is so cool. Oh my God, this is so cool.
It is cool. It is cool.
For years, we've been more connected than we could ever imagine. One of my first gigs when I left TV was for a global financial entity, a bank. And I did a presentation, and part of the audience for the presentation was in their London office, and so every now and then I would say, hey, my crew in London, how are you guys? Are you hearing me? Are you following me? Are you with me? And then they'd raise their hand, because I could see them, on the video, and they could see me and hear me, and they participated in all the exercises that we did and everything that I conduct. And so it was really cool. Like when I got done with the engagement, I called my wife. I was like, yeah, part of my group was in London this morning. I was like, it was really cool. I'm kind of like a big deal.
That is great. I love it.
So connected.
Yeah.
We are so interconnected, and
so that's the good part.
And we're only going to get more connected.
We are.
It's wonderful. And if you're somebody like me who grew up gay and thinking I was the only gay person on the planet.
Oh, wow, you're so connected now.
Anybody who is in a small group, if you're handicapped, if you're part of a minority, I think virtual has really helped you be a part of a bigger community than you may be limited to in your own town. So I think it's wonderful.
Find your tribe.
Yeah. And so we didn't grow up with this international communication. And so that's the other thing I think is neat, is all of our offspring and offspring of offspring is going to be used to the fact that they can talk to anybody they want to around the world.
Second nature. I love it.
Yes.
Absolutely love it. And think about it also, for dating and stuff. But back when I was a matchmaker in St. Pete, Florida, I couldn't get people to accept a date in Tampa, which was just over a little tiny bridge. Like, oh no, I don't go to Tampa. I'm like, seriously. If your Prince Charming or your soulmate is 45 minutes away, you won't go over a bridge. It was ridiculous.
I've heard of St. Pete, Tampa little competition. Just saying.
Yeah.
You what?
Just a little bit. There's a little competition there.
I said I heard it's
St.
Pete. Yeah, St. Pete, Tampa.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But you know what though? That is the reason why, if you're struggling with this whole brand new concept of homeschooling and what to do, what to get, what to buy, what to stay away from, what works, what doesn't. Find a community. There are so many groups out there now. You got to remember, people have been homeschooling for a long, long time.
Just
Joey
not us.
Logano. Yeah, Joey Logano, who is a big-time NASCAR race driver now.
Mm-hmm.
He and his sister were both homeschooled by their mom.
Right.
And I remember going to their house doing they had a whole schedule, they had a whole routine, they had a syllabus. I mean, they had all the coursework. They went for field trips. I mean, and they hooked up with other groups.
Yeah, they're very connected.
Yes.
The homeschool community is very connected.
So there are so many don't be afraid to use the Google machine. I know I say that every week.
Oh, yeah.
Get on that Google machine, find groups that are near you, support, because there's information and resources out there. Don't let this thing overwhelm you. I know we're 6-7 months into it, but don't let it overwhelm you. There's help out there.
Yes.
I know.
There's help out there.
There really is. And there's tutors, and I know several tutors. So if you're watching this, I do know some really great tutors. But all right, so let's get to, we're talking about some DIYs. You might be thinking, all right, that's so great, but my house is just, I need to get set up. I need my space, like Mark, you was saying, your own space as an adult, trying to do whatever it is you want to do, whether you just want to do your own emails in private, and the kids need their own privacy. So let's show some pictures. We're going to talk about some pictures we have of some easy DIYs that can make your life very, very more organized, more organized.
Much more organized.
Very simply. I'm doing good. And then
We're winning bigly.
I want to make it late. And if you're watching and you've got we want you to share your pictures with us. So if you're watching this, show us a comment with a picture of how you have your home office or your kids' schooling set up, because we want to see it. Because I always believe if you have an idea and I have an idea and we share them, now we each have two. Mary Kay Ash taught me that many years ago. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to show you some fun pictures, and we're going to chime in on them.
Now look at that right there. That is special.
So you've got some people that are really organized. You can see they all have. This is like the Martha Stewart version, but I'd love to see somebody send us a picture of what it really looks like. But there are
this is before the kids start. This is like before the kids got a hold.
This is the setup. Yeah, this is
not what it looks like now. But I do like the folders and the hooks and the organization. So
very simple if you look at it. It's not complicated. It's some hooks. Look at the crates down at the bottom, and I'm sure it's going to get messy and crazy, but look, it's a very simple concept. I mean, you don't have to have the letters on the top and everything organized, but if you simply have those, hanging where you see the folders and some hooks, and then the crates at the bottom for shoes, you can do it even in a more simple way. It doesn't have to be like so fancy.
And let me tell you something. My wife built a bench similar to that right upstairs in our entryway by the garage. That is not a difficult project. I mean, she had a blast doing it. She did the hooks, she did the molding.
Awesome.
It looks like it belongs there.
Well,
so I know she did a nice job.
And also, let me point out the color scheme. So when I was in morning radio, I was part of a show, and we did charity trips down to Walt Disney World. And the comparison is we would always be in certain color codes so that when we got separated in the park, we could easily visually see each other, right? So we made sure that took place. Well, here, if you have multiple children and you have them pick their colors and have different color codes, then when everything gets messed up, because again, this is the before picture, it's easier for you as a parent to organize them back together. Instead of trying to do the same color.
Oh, you're right. Yes. The lunch boxes match the
boots, the whole thing. Yeah.
So if I would look, they have the teal boots with the pink backpack and the pink boots with the polka dot one. So you can even get more organized and make matching.
But on a side note, who can afford 4 kids right now?
Well, that's
something else.
Mark.
That's another show. But I like the simplicity of it. But this is great
this
too.
Is cute.
Organization.
And you can do what I do. I just have a chalkboard wall, so it doesn't have to be the cute little squares. You can literally get chalkboard paint it, and just put lines down it. Like you were talking earlier, Mark, just getting organized with your day or your month. Chalkboard paint. I have it. I love it. That whole wall is chalkboard paint.
I just moved into my place about a year ago, and it came with a small wall with chalkboard paint, and it has made all the difference, because even when you it's not even for, the schedule. So my son in kindergarten, he has sight words and he has different things he has to learn. And it's easy for us to put it on that chalkboard wall so that every time we pass it, it's just a quick pop quiz. And then, you know, and he's able to absorb more information by having it up visually on the wall because he's a visual learner. And so that chalkboard wall has come in so handy.
Love
That's
a chalkboard
huge.
wall. So this is just take it to the next level if you really want to make it snazzy. I put this picture up just because it's something very simple. I mean, I know we're going to show some like fancy, cool stuff, but you know, if you just have this corner, you've got, they have 3 kids, it could just be some shelving and some plank board. You can make it easy. It's just as long as they have their own space, which is nice. So I don't want people to get overwhelmed with they have to be Martha Stewart because not everybody needs to be.
And those desks, believe it or not, I know money is tight, but they're not that expensive.
Right.
So
and
if you have to create it, and if you have to create one, I mean, you know, you can actually build a desk, I mean, for a little bit of money.
There's people that are doing them now at the garage and giving them to charities. And of course, don't forget Goodwill and, you know.
Yes, I got a list of several places you can get some of this stuff. But one of the things I did want to reiterate, we've said in the show before, is Nextdoor. Like there's plenty of people.
The Nextdoor app?
Yeah, the Nextdoor app, because there's plenty of people in your neighborhood who, again, just like with Goodwill, like you said, that they need to get rid of some of this stuff. You know, there's some people who are now at home and realize, oh my gosh, I need more space. I need to get rid of some of these desks and some of these chairs and some of these things. And so you can always check with your neighbors because they're always ready to give you something.
Oh, I love that. Nextdoor app is fantastic. And also I do Facebook Marketplace a lot. You can find anything there.
Facebook Marketplace is great.
Yeah. So, you know, simple. And I'm noticing a lot of the desks, they just put it against the wall so you don't have all the distractions. Sometimes it's just a little corner. It's against the wall. You're facing your computer and just what you need. Like Mark, you were saying earlier about, you know, you don't want the TV in front of you. And if I'm sitting in front of like I have my window right here. So when I see my chipmunks and my squirrels climbing my wall, I'm like, oh, very easily to get distracted. I'm like, oh, my chipmunk's here. You know, so don't do that.
Well, and also, you know, I think these pictures are fantastic. And I think that, and this is a great one too, I think that you also have to learn your own style. So don't think that the cube that you came out of to come home, that you are all of a sudden going to be a different person. Think about how you organized in your cube and what you needed in your cube and what did you use the most, and bring that into your home, because your style is already there. You should customize it to who you are instead of trying to mimic completely what somebody else is doing.
Absolutely. And then I got a variety. Like this one's just nice and clean. Probably doesn't stay that clean, but basic. And again, less distractions. But if a lot of people like that monochromatic white look, so this is just really easy.
Well, it made me think of the last picture with the calendar, because that would not be functional for me. So so that I don't need the calendar. You know what I mean?
Distracting.
Mine is more of a blank space where my mind is a little more splayed. I need more notes.
I love it.
But you can still incorporate that.
And then the good old-fashioned college milk crate. Whoever went to college knows the milk crate, or ever had a first apartment or loft or whatever. The milk crate is the invention from the gods.
It's not really just a milk crate. It's also a bed. It's like a bedpost. You know?
Oh my God! Wait till you see. We've got some creative things.
It's moving. I mean, like it's a multifaceted. Milk crates lasted me until my late 20s. You mentioned college. It was like I kept that thing going until I was nearly 30. But I will say that I had a friend, my best friend in high school, used crates to move to college, and then was going to use the crates in college, right in her dorm room. But she also packed her utensils from her kitchen in there, including a carving knife. And the carving knife had slipped down past the box, and she had a convertible. So she shoved the crate on top of the car, opened her door, and then pulled it to slide it down to put into the car, not knowing that knife had been down. And she sliced her convertible top all the way.
So is that our not so smart for this segment?
I know, I should have, yes. Oh, I should have done that for not so smart. That's true.
That was great. Well, the crates have gotten prettier, so they're not always that, ugly color. Now you can actually buy milk crates of going to the grocery store and get them in the back alley. So they come really pretty colors. And I just showed the creative things people do, to make them stools. Cool. I think that's so cool. And look at this person made their own desk out of milk crates.
Right.
So I mean, we're talking about
sell that for $79.99.
I put a cushion on the seat, but we can get really homemade right now in a second. And look at this.
Cushions are additional.
Exactly. That's $100 right there total.
Bungee cords.
I love it. Well, and
neat.
like you said, I mean, you don't have to use expensive wood in order to make
Right.
that happen if it's just
Right.
something makeshift.
And in case you
Oh,
didn't,
my
in case you
word.
want to take a break during lunch and you make a swing out of your milk crates, I thought this was so cute.
It's adorable.
You know what?
Oh, my
A
goodness.
Is
milk
that
crate would
child
probably be
abuse? No.
no, because a milk crate would probably be a better swing than the tire swings that we had. So my
Yes.
father made a tire swing. My neighbor had a tire swing.
I love
The
tire
pro-
swings.
Well, the problem with tire swing though is when it rains, all that water
Yeah.
gets
Goes
in the
inside.
groove, and you've got to flip it. And as an elementary school kind of frail little girl, I didn't have the
That's
muscle
heavy.
capacity.
That's
I was
heavy.
kicking it and trying to
Mark.
slosh it out, and at least with the crate, the holes are already there.
That's
So
a
Right.
good point. That's a really good
Right.
point.
the rain won't keep.
I got hit in the
Oh.
head with one of those tire swings, so I'm not a fan.
Yeah, there you go. I
Yes.
love them though. Now on these, these are great if you're looking at this saying, oh my God, that's wonderful. How'd you make it? We're not going into the how to, but you can always go to Pinterest. Pinterest is my go-to for recipes
Yes.
and how to, and you can look up Pinterest, milk crate seats, and you can find the how-tos. You can also go to YouTube and find how to make anything. So if any of these spark some, creative juices, if you're seeing this, go to YouTube or Pinterest, and you can get all sorts of ideas. We just want to spark your imagination.
Yeah.
That if you're, thinking, gosh, I need a new desk or I need some new chairs. I mean, well, hello, we can get real simple.
Well, and also request to Pinterest. Like one of my friends introduced me to that several years ago, and I'm addicted. However, give a link to those instructions, like you said. Like if you post on Pinterest, don't just post the picture, post a link or post the instructions or post a link to the instructions, because nothing gets on my nerves more than seeing something like that and going, oh, this is great. And then click on the picture and nothing happens.
Oh,
like
That's why I go to YouTube, because YouTube will give you a link.
Yeah.
Like I get a lot of my recipes off of YouTube for my big green egg, and they always have a link to somebody's website where they list all the ingredients and everything you need. And I love that.
And
but
Melissa,
Pinterest drives me crazy for that reason.
Yes, and I know, Melissa, you're going to give us some great tips on where to get some of this stuff. We'll talk about that in just a second, because you've got some great resources, like we always like to give our viewers. But I thought this was ingenious. Your kids may not want to get all on the ball because they're going to be rolling around the house. But this way, I'd never thought to put the stability ball inside a milk crate, and then it's so cushy. But you're also working on your core and your balance and a little bit of exercise while you're working. I'd like to try that one.
That's awesome. That's a great idea.
I did think that was a great idea, because you get on those stability balls and they're wrong name for those balls. They're not stability balls. They're unstability balls.
Exactly. Try not to fall off me ball. That's it.
That's it. This is a really good handiwork.
See, that's very clever.
Isn't that clever?
See, I'm going to call that you're doing too much.
Too much time on your hands.
That's
I'd
a
have
lot.
too much time on your hands for that one.
Clever. It looks good. I'll buy it. I'm not going to make it.
That looks like something I'd buy in the Bahamas, where they make all those things with the palm leaves, and they make the hats and all those. Never mind.
Again, you're in the Bahamas. You got time for that.
That's right. Well, you can make it look simple, add a little shelf to the top. I just didn't want people to forget about the old-fashioned crate. If you're looking for shelves, crates really still work.
Well, and I think divide and conquer. We hear about that in history, but you got to do that with supplies too. I mean, nothing will drive you nuts in a house than clutter. And you can really help your mental health by just divide and conquer it. Like get it separated and give yourself some space. And
this is how my mind looks if you open it up. There you go. This one spoke to me. It's fun. It makes me laugh. I love to smile. And this one, it really just looks like, I don't like everything perfect. I love this one. I thought this was so cute.
Very cute.
That is neat.
Just kind of have fun with it. Have fun. Make your own thing. And this was very kind of serene. I thought this was great. A good old mosquito net, those princess nets, you can buy them anywhere. TJ Maxx, party stores. And I know how much I used to love when I was little to have just your own little, how we used to make tents and just put up the sheet and just be in a tent. Kids love that. So a little reading corner. I thought this was so cute. And
my mom had she somehow, it was, I don't know if she made it or it was pre-made, but it was a sheet that had the structure of a building, like a house or a school on it. And then she had a card table, a folding table that she would just lay it over it. And I lived inside that fort, and that's where I spent time. And it was just a simple folding table and sheet. And that's all it took.
Really, ever make it out like out of boxes, getting those big refrigerator boxes and stuff and playing
Big
them, and
pillows, sofa
Mhm.
we're like
cushions,
cats. Give my
anything.
cat a box and he's happy.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Give it to my dog, he chews it up, but that's a different story. And that's just plain and simple. Last one is these are the old wood crates. I mean, you can couple of nails, put them on top of each other, a little mirror, and get yourself a little vanity. So
Sand it down a little bit.
what?
Sand it down a little bit.
Sand it
Make it
down.
nice and smooth.
Good point. That's the guy of the
A little
group. Don't forget
stain
to
on it.
sand it. Got it. Very smart. I love that.
But that looks good though.
It really,
Well,
it's really
yeah.
fun.
And again, I was thinking that, again, there's some people who may not feel crafty enough to do that. I mean, I have friends who are very intimidated even by stacking, those crates on top of each other.
Right.
And
Mark, you just told us to sand
he'll
it
sand,
down.
he'll sand, but I can't stack.
I tell you what to do. You go do it.
But think of your, and again,
Perfect
it could
coach.
be, yeah, it could be the Facebook marketplace. It could be Pinterest. It could be Nextdoor. But I think the first thing you look at is your inventory in your garage, and then you ask your neighbors the inventory in their garage. Because I can tell you right now, I have a desk that for a preschooler that my brother bought for my son when he was little, and he's outgrown it, and it's in my garage right now. So I mean, if somebody needs a preschool desk, then we can make an arrangement.
There you go. Well, tell us some resources, Melissa, because you have some places to buy some of these things, because people aren't all going to make this. These are just some ideas if you want to make something. But yes, the marketplaces, the Goodwills.
And it's either these things or it's the things you put on them. So there's some people that are struggling with school supplies. If you've got 4 kids and you have to have all the supplies for the kids, this list also includes that. So don't forget about your school district. You can always contact your school district, and they may have resources or know of people who are trying to get rid of something.
That's a great idea.
Don't forget your church.
And don't forget your church. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because I reached out to my son's school before the pandemic saying, I've got this desk. I had some tables if they need it for their preschool class. And I was trying to get rid of it. And so the schools know that information so they can hook you up with maybe another parent. Also, there's a organization called Kids in Need Foundation. So you can find resources there. Kids in Need, Salvation Army, always a good resource. United Way, Boys and Girls Clubs, don't forget about them. One I thought was really interesting though, if you are in the military, there is an Operation Homefront, which is an organization that is helping military kids get the supplies they need for school as well.
Oh, so, Melissa, thank you for remembering the vets and the military.
Yeah, so
that's wonderful.
Operation Homefront. I'm the daughter of a vet, and so I understand the sacrifices that he made and what, he was in the Army, but everybody in all branches. And so, and you got to think about your kid. And if you're stationed somewhere, your spouse, if you have one, is the one taking care of those kids while you're gone and doesn't have the support from you. So again, Operation Homefront is the organization that will help the kids of those who are in the military.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great resource. Thank you, Melissa, for sharing that with us. That hopefully will help some. Now, viewers, also, if you're watching and we're doing our watch parties, put it in the comments if you've got a resource or a nonprofit that you know of. Up here in Cumming, we have what's called the Place of Forsyth, and they're great because they really really work with single mothers and women that have escaped domestic violence. And they've got a wonderful shop up here where you can shop, and all the money goes back to helping women that have been through domestic violence or single moms. And I have such a heart for single moms. I've been there, done that. And ends never seem to meet when you're a single mom, because the more you work, the more you need resources and sitters, and it's just can be a vicious cycle. So it's called The Place. So, and if you all know of any other place that helps single moms, that's, we always think that it's a whole family at home and everybody has time to DIY or help each other. Sometimes it's a mom and 4 kids. Yeah, no, there you go. It's a mom and a kid. Yeah. Moms are great.
Mom, yeah. I mean, it's a privilege, but yes, you're exactly right. I mean, Aurea and I talked about this off air, where, if you're a single mom and have the privilege of having a tribe around you and family members nearby and help, like my son is with his grandmother as we are doing this. So, I am lucky enough to have that. But if you're a single mom that does not have anybody nearby or does not have the friend group to support you, you're exactly right. They need help because they are incredibly overwhelmed, including single fathers too. So I mean, it's you know, a single parent household is something that can, in a situation like this, be very daunting.
And it could be as easy as now with the pandemic that puts on a whole nother, you know, realm of obstacles where we just can't go to the Boys and Girls Club and, you know, after school clubs with the kids. But it could be easy as you have something and you can drop it off at somebody's house and leave it in the driveway. You know, arrange then, of course, but the next door app and marketplace. And
also ask your friends. Like if you're watching
drop
this
it off.
and it didn't even cross your mind, and you have friends that have kids, like if you're somebody that's not in this situation, they're like, you know, I'm working from home, I got it covered, I've been working from home, or I'm still in the office, it's not a big deal. Think about your friends that have children or who are working at home for the first time, and just reach out and ask them. Just reach out and check on them and see if they're all right. And is there anything you need?
Right.
Exactly. Social media is great for that. Post it on your Facebook wall, you know, to say, hey, I've got this extra. Does anybody need it? Somebody will grab it like that.
Right.
Really well. You'll know somebody that your neighbor's got it. So just stay on social media. You know, before you go to post on the marketplace, if you don't need to sell something, it's just that extra item, that desk, you know, you're not only going to get a couple of bucks for. Put it up, take a picture, say, does anybody need this for their kid, for their child, or for their in-home office to help out a single mom or single parent?
And if you own a company and you are in a workspace where there's not a lot of people and you've got some extra supplies, maybe be that, you know, CEO or maybe that owner that says, you know what, I'm actually doing very well right now. And if you're somebody that needs my help, go ahead and, you know, post that as well. So I've got some extra chairs in the office that you can borrow, or, you know, however you can make it work.
Yep.
Absolutely. If you're a resource or you need a resource, you know, reach out here, put it in the comments, because we're always looking at our comments. Even after this airs live, we come back, we look at the comments. So if you need something, or reach out to either three of us. I'm not doing too good with English today. Either one of us or either three of us.
Somebody needs to go back to school.
Either of us.
You know, hey, it's my birthday. My brain got a year older this week. So, you know.
That's called being hungover. I get what birthday is about Aurea.
Well, on that note, have a good night. But what I was going to say, which now I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh yes, reach out to either one of us on social media and say, you know, private chat, DM, the whole 9 yards. Say, hey Melissa, saw you in the show. You know, what about this? Or I have this question. So we're all open to that on social media. Just to let us know. So we're all really connected with social media. So that's helpful. So with that, do you have any other last minute chime-ins about DIY or helpful hints? Otherwise, we will go to our not so smart section and have a good laugh on other people's expense.
Let's do it.
I'm ready. Ready to do it, Barb. We're ready to laugh. All right. Sounds good. Melissa, let's start with you.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about school, and let's talk about college, and let's talk about social media, because aren't you glad that social media wasn't around when you were in college?
Yes, indeed.
And speaking of birthdays and drinking, just saying, it's not about a birthday, but Rosie Cole lives in the United Kingdom. She's 21 years old, and she shares a flat with a roommate. They do go to college, and they had some friends over, and they started drinking, and they kept drinking. And then somehow in the conversation, the question was asked, can you fit in the dryer?
What?
And so Rosie said, sure, I think I can fit in the dryer. And so Rosie proceeded to climb into their dryer.
Okay.
But she couldn't get out.
Really?
So they had to call, as they call it in the UK, their fire brigade. So they had to call the fire department to come get her out of her own dryer.
Get the Crisco.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like I said, it's one thing to do it and it just be, between like 5 of us that were there, and let's not tell anybody, please don't tell my mom.
Oh my gosh.
Now it's posted everywhere. And
again,
so Rosie got out. Rosie's okay, but she had a little.
Wow.
How do you get in but can't get out? If you can get in a hole, can't you get out of a hole?
Well, you got to have a plan both ways. You got to have a plan to get in and a plan.
And Araya, they were drunk. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, she's lucky that her friends didn't lock her in there and just turn it on.
Exactly.
Let's see if this will go viral.
Oh, this is gonna be funny. Let me put the camera right here. I go.
Look at her go. Look at her go.
Yeah. So Rosie and her friends, not so, it may be a funny idea, but actually doing it, not so smart.
Doesn't even look like she could fit.
I know.
I don't think.
You
And
know,
that's probably why her friends say, "Hey, you think you can fit?" Like, it's one of those dares that you're like, "Oh, they'll never do this."
and they
Right.
do
Once you
it.
start doing it, they're like, "Well, I'm not going to stop her. I mean, if she wants to try."
The smart thing is I always think there's got to be one designated driver, one sober person in the bunch to say, hey guys, this isn't a good idea, but I guess not.
Yeah, a sober friend to say, "Please don't go in the dryer." Like, yes, that's.
Or at least someone the next day to say it's a good time for you to consider quitting drinking. This is a good time to think about that.
Yeah, for sure.
And call
Oh
it
my God.
quits.
Well, on my story, this gentleman was not drunk, but I love last week I talked about a guy doing the wonderful, toilet door. This week I've got another wonderful guy, not so smart. Sorry about that, Mark, but present company excluded on how guys can do some dumb things. And this husband was so proud of himself. He wanted to clean the house and surprise his wife before she got home. And he decided to take on the job of cleaning the fireplace. Seems like a guy thing to do.
Yeah.
So with the guy's ingenuity, thought, well, I can do this better and faster. Two things that went wrong right there. I can do this better and faster. If I go in the garage and get my leaf blower, take a large garbage bag, put it in front of the fireplace, blow the leaf blower inside the fireplace, and all the soot neatly fall into the garbage bag.
All right, look.
Yeah,
Okay, now look. I know you said it's like a guy thing. Now, I was fortunate to grow up in a home where brothers and sisters all did the same jobs. We all mowed lawns. We all built furniture. We all cleaned out the fireplace as well as cooked and cleaned and did laundry. And so I have cleaned out many a fireplace in my time. And that is why that shovel and broom and brush are next to the fireplace. That's what those utensils are for.
There's no leaf blower and garbage bag next to it?
So if you've ever dealt with ash,
obviously he had.
Unbelievable.
And it's so cute because when she got home, all she sees is her husband home covered in soot, the place just as black as it could be, and he had the leaf blower in his hand, kind of like a kid in a candy store saying, "I am sorry." And she goes, "What did you do?" And he told her what he did, and she says, "For the record, the leaf blower doesn't work." I'm like, "You think?"
You need a machine with a sucking motion, not a blowing motion. Get yourself a vacuum cleaner, son. Oh my gosh.
I didn't even think of that.
What in the world?
I could take this conversation to a different place. I was like, he should have known that already, but anyway.
It's the not so smart section of the show.
Honey, it applies in all facets of the house.
Yes,
but
Mark, let's go to you. Look at the time.
Speaking of another dumb guy, I'm going to take you to the Justice Department up in Washington, D.C. Okay. This crack gang of investigators cracked a cold case. Well, it wasn't that cold, but they cracked the case of the Game of Thrones businessman. Ooh. Yes, indeed. A Garner, North Carolina man filed 14 false applications for a PPP loan. But somehow, some way, he was awarded some PPP loan money to the tune of $6.1 million. Now, here's the problem. What wasn't so smart was that he drew attention to himself by naming his companies after characters on the Game of Thrones. So he had the Khaleesi Company, he had the Night's Watch Company, he had the Night King. The White Walker Company.
Away with that, had it just been one or two, he would have gotten away with it, or just one.
Maybe one. But
three too far.
All these companies named after Game of Thrones. Do you think nobody watches the most watched series ever in the history of HBO?
Oh my gosh.
And what makes me mad about that is here we are in a pandemic and so many people are trying to figure out ways to make extra money, especially got laid off. Right. And here's a fool that somehow got access to $6 million. It's like, just give me $6,000, give me $60,000, so.
Oh my God, that is crazy. And so let's put the not so smart on them too for giving it out and not doing their due diligence, because they just gave it out. And you're right, Melissa, some people waiting for stimulus packages and this, that, and the other thing, but that,
and then you got to go back and get the money, because we don't know how long he had it. Because if he
Right.
had it for any period of time, he probably spent it on some
Spent it.
virtual
Did he
strippers,
go to jail?
right?
Virtual strippers. He sure did. He sure did. He's like, and he called her Dragon Mother. You know?
Oh my
Again,
goodness.
the show's taking another turn. We
Oh
take a
my
turn
goodness.
this way a lot.
Araya, I know you've not seen the show. It was a character reference. I wasn't being too.
Right.
No, that's
Right.
okay. I figured that. It's one show I need to watch. We were talking about that earlier. That
You
takes
haven't
a while, I'm
seen
sure, to
Game
get
of
into that one.
Thrones? Girlfriend,
She's
where
seen Game
have
of
you been?
Thrones.
I'm gonna binge watch it for you to drive my wife crazy.
Oh my God, I just finished watching Schitt's Creek, which made me laugh, and I just loved it. I'm on to happy things for my journey to 60. I'm on to some happy stuff.
Well, you know what?
Listen,
Mark
did
will
she
take on
cuss?
that for you. I mean, that's
ahead.
very charitable of you, Mark, to take on Game of Thrones again for Araya. Good for you for doing
I'll do it.
There you
I'll
go.
do it.
I will get
I'll
to
do
it. I promise. Oh my gosh. I say, all right, viewers, send us your DIYs. Send us your not so smart. We want to see them. Post them in these threads, in the comments. We want to see some fun things. Send us some links to some funny pictures and some not so smart moments. And we know you've all had some not so smart moments. So we are not immune to the three of us capturing some not so smart moments we may do along the way.
Oh
So
my
you
gosh,
know.
that's a great idea. We're going to do an episode where we are our own not so smarts. I think
There
that
we
would be a
go.
great idea.
You know, doesn't take much for me to say, oh, that happens all the time. So
My wife will tell you, I got plenty of them.
and with the holidays coming, they'll be just so much even more fun. So my husband gets up in the trees and he's like a monkey up there. He gets all the way to the top. And I can't wait. I'll show you the pictures. I mean, he's just got the lights like Disney. It's amazing.
Oh,
And I keep
Christmas. I
thinking,
thought you just meant in general. I thought, okay.
Yeah.
no, he just
okay,
climbs the trees.
Oh,
Not so
yeah.
smart. There he is. There he goes.
No judgment. No judgment.
No judgment.
None
This is the time.
whatsoever.
But as he gets older, I'm thinking, not so smart. But he loves it. He does it. And I love the way he blames it on us. Y'all wanted lights. And we told him, we said, 5 years ago, we said you could stop. It's okay. And he's still up there. Well, no, you need lights. I'm like, yeah, we do. But we need you alive, too. So, you
That
know,
would be nice.
be careful. And he's not even attached. And there's no mattress down there. So
Oh.
I'll show you in some future
Araya.
episodes as we get closer. I will take
Listeners are starting to go, no.
get off the trees.
Get him down.
No.
Get him down.
Really. All right. Well, happy DIYing, everyone. We
Yeah.
love you and God bless you and have a great day, evening, week, whatever it is. And we will see you next time. This is our episode 8. And we'll be having episode 9 and more all
Joking
coming
around.
to you. So goodbye from us. Have a great one. Goodbye from us at Smart Talk. See you later. Let's wave again. Here we go. Bye.